What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are finally going to take a look at 3 million run step by step throughout the Death Scourge for Archangel. This is a little bit late, we have 1 day and a half left, but unfortunately if you are watching this in the future, this was throughout an event for KANG the Conqueror that required 8 rotations of Blitz per day. That's why it has been very hard to come up with this video, because I have been so busy blitzing. So we are finally ready to show every detail, everything that you have to do as easy as possible a 3 million run, and to allow you to get Archangel at 7 yellow stars on your first run. So we are going to break down all the sections, every ISO 8 change that you have to do, and the specific order that you're going to kill the enemies in order for you to be successful. In terms of the Scourges that we are going to use literally all Scourges, except the first 2, but to be honest, we could also use the first 2 because they are not that impactful. But yeah, when I mean all Scourges, I mean literally all Scourges. As you can see, every one of the Scourges is marked on except the first 2, which is up to you if you want to try it out or not. The difficulty increase is not that big. So as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, so with all that said, let's get started. Let's take a look first at those Minion nodes, and then let's take a look at everything else. Okay, so let's get started, and the Minion nodes, you're gonna watch these on fast speed because it just takes so long. It's really a dreadful experience. You can pretty much put on auto if you use the same team that I'm using. So I'm going to take the AIM Minions together with the Merc Lieutenant. And AIM Minions, they are great because whenever you are applying negative effects to them, they get a turn bar, which makes them extremely fast. Now, in terms of the ISO 8 choices for them, I would recommend all of them as skirmishers, and you're gonna see throughout these run that Skirmisher ISO 8 is probably one of the best ISO 8 choices for your Scourge runners. So you're gonna see that first off, you're gonna try to remove the taunt from that blob, and as soon as you can, you should try to destroy the Strange Supreme or the Doctor Strange, because you don't want him to revive any character. So if you let him sit around for a long time, he's gonna start reviving characters, and that will just waste your time. So don't worry about that. Now, in terms of gear for these characters, I have all of them at level 75, gear tier 14, and Merc LT, I have him at level 80, gear tier 15. The Merc LT, he has the Healer ISO 8, the AIM characters, they have a Skirmisher ISO 8, except the AIM Assault, which has Striker, but as I said, if you make him a Skirmisher, it's not going to be a bad option. It might help you reduce the amount of time it takes to beat these. Because with the Strikers that you have, if you have any Striker, it stops the work all the Skirmishers are doing. So having more Skirmishers for this specific Scourge is very important. Okay, so after the blob is gone, after Strange is gone, you want to stop characters that interfere with your team in terms of speed. So you want to stop characters that apply slow to you, and in this case it's going to be Symbiote Spider-Man. Then we also have characters that remove your positive effects, which is going to be Toad and Mystique, but priority is going to be Toad. And then you want to be careful with characters that apply heal block, because yes, while negative effects benefit us, if you have slow and heal block at the same time, it might take so long for you to have a turn that you might end up dying before you can benefit of those negative effects. So you want to focus on characters that once again apply negative effects, characters that remove your positive effects, and characters that apply to you dangerous negative effects like heal block. Okay, so Blob is gone, Strange is gone, the Symbiote Spider-Man is also gone, and now you also have removed Toad. Now you're going to focus on Mystique, because you never want to have one Mystique together with Magneto. And in this case we have 2 Mystiques on this node, so having 2 Mystiques is going to create a lot of problems. You don't want any of that. And now we have a Juggernaut. So on the Juggernaut you want to apply some vulnerabilities to him, just to make sure that you are ready to remove his positive effects. And as soon as you can remove his taunt, you want to focus on Magneto. You want to make sure that you get rid of Magneto, so Magneto stops giving speed up to all the brother characters. So that's going to be very inconvenient for us, because the same way that the enemies can clear positive effects from us or apply slow and so on, they are also taking advantage by giving themselves speed. So you need to stop that speed. Other character that you should prioritize is Mordo, because he applies the heal block, and we already mentioned that Mordo is very problematic with the heal blocks, and other characters like him. And beyond that, after you take down Mordo, after you take down Magneto, you don't have to worry about anyone too much. You should prioritize Mystique, then Phyla-Vell, and then Sabretooth and the Juggernaut. Characters that heal by a lot, like Sabretooth, or in the next node, what's her name, Negasonic. It's just better to ignore those characters, because if you can keep them alone, that's just the best way to do it, because if there is many things going on at the same time, they just keep healing and healing, and you are just wasting your time. So focus on the other characters that do not heal but apply negative effects, rather than focus on the characters that are hard to deal with, to say the least. Okay, so Phyla-Vell is gone. Now we're gonna focus on Mystique, and then we're gonna finish off the 2 slow burn characters, which is the Juggernaut and Sabretooth. After that we are ready to go to the next node. And I was playing this on manual, but you can take my word for it. If you follow this skill order, you can pretty much put on auto, and you just have to switch the target whenever there is a taunt, and follow that kill order. So it's gonna be the Blob, then Doctor Strange, then you want to take out Symbiote Spider-Man, then Magneto, then Toad. After Toad we have Mystique. After Mystique we have the next wave of characters. When that next wave of characters drops, you want to get rid of Magneto, then the Mordo, then the second Mystique, and Phyla-Vell, and Juggernaut and Sabretooth. But as you can see, I was focusing on Juggernaut, and I didn't get rid of Mystique. And once again, if you have more skirmishers, that's going to be better for you, because you are going to be able to do this a lot faster. Okay, there we go. That was the first node on the Death Scourge with the AIM team plus Merc LT. Now let's take a look at the second node. Okay, so let's take a look at the second node. We are going to use exactly the same team. Make sure you have Isolate Blue on all your characters, because it makes a huge difference. And once again, if you want to make this as fast as possible, make sure you have all your characters with Skirmisher Isolate, except Merc LT. Okay, so as I mentioned before, if you want to save time, you can put this on auto, and you just have to guide which characters you want to attack. And yes, if you have the characters at the same size as mine, or even a little bit smaller, it should be fine. So we have all characters level 75 and Isolate Blue level 3 and Gear T 14. You just have to put on auto and just select the right targets. And the right targets are going to be End Sentry, because he's applying evades to all your enemies and he is just wasting your time. After that, you want to deal with the problematic characters. Those are going to be Vulture, Swarm, and Venom. Carnage and Rhino, you can pretty much ignore them, and if Rhino has taunt, you just want to remove the taunt and focus on your priority targets. And that's pretty much it. That's why you can play on auto. This first wave is fairly simple. The second wave is also simple somewhat. Only the third wave is a little bit problematic, and it's the only wave that you have to play on manual. So End Sentry is now gone. Now we can go after Vulture, which is a character that applies slow to us and also turn rewinds. And then, depending on which character will be available, you're going to focus or on Venom or on Swarm. So Vulture is now gone. Let's go after Swarm now, and it also depends how much speed bar one character has. So Swarm is a lot faster than Venom. Swarm also benefits out of the negative effects you are applying to him, as long as you let him have a turn. So you want to make sure that you get rid of Swarm whenever he has a low turn bar, and you just destroy him before he has his turn, otherwise he's going to flip those negative effects into positive effects. Okay, after Swarm is gone, you're going to focus on Venom, and after Venom is gone, you want to make sure you organize your cooldowns for the next wave. Make sure you have everything available, and if you are playing this on auto, just put on auto basic and you are going to do just fine. Okay, so you can see right here that I'm switching the target a little bit just to remove those positive effects. We are using a Scourge that whenever enemy has multiple death proofs, then they can get a revive once. So you have to keep clearing those death proofs from the enemies. Okay, so now the second wave dropped, and this second wave, it's not too hard, but it's gonna burn your patience a little bit. We have magic applying barrier to multiple characters. Then we have magic also giving drain to Phantom X. Then we have tons and tons of evades being provided by Domino, and if even after Domino is dead, she's still providing evades to other X-Force characters. And on top of that, we also have Negasonic getting barrier all the time. So this is a very, very annoying wave. It's not particularly hard, it's just annoying to deal with. Once again, the more skirmishes you have, the better, because you're going to deal with these much, much faster. Okay, so magic is gone. After magic, you want to focus on Domino, and you have to be careful with the disrupt that Domino applies with her ultimate. And be patient, because yes, Domino, she's going to dodge a lot of times, and it's not only her. All X-Force characters are going to dodge a bunch. She just has a higher rate than the other ones. After that, you want to focus on Deathpool. And yes, it feels like it's convenient to focus on Negasonic because she's applying the heal block to you, but it's just so hard to deal with her that you are better off ignoring her. You can see that I'm doing tons and tons of damage to her, but she keeps just regening and getting barrier, which is extremely frustrating. So it's just you are just better off attacking Deadpool and then Phantom X and leave Negasonic for last. One thing about Deadpool that you should remember is that whenever you apply negative effects to him, he is going to clear those negative effects away and is going to heal for a percentage. So keep that in mind, because if you let him to get negative effects and then you don't finish him off, he will just keep getting healing and healing over and over again. So this was on my first run of this new Scourge event, and you can see that my memory is not good. I was still focusing on Negasonic, but don't do it. Focus on the other characters first and then leave Negasonic for last. Even that she applies the heal block, which is annoying. Because the characters are somewhat slow, it's not something you have to worry about too much. Okay, so let's see, we are almost done with her. And it's one of those cases, like, if you want to invest more on your characters, of course you are going to do this a lot faster, but this is trying to spend the minimum amount of resources and still getting an amazing score. And that's it. So Negasonic is finally gone. Yes, and now you're going to focus on Deadpool. It should be the other way around. It should be Deadpool first, Phantom X next, and then Negasonic, but that's fine. And you can see right here the mistake I'm going to make, that I left Deadpool with some negative effects. I don't finish him off, and he's going to heal up by 100%. So don't make this mistake. It's just a waste of time. And I apologize for showing you this, but I didn't remember about it when I was making the video. Okay, so you can see Deadpool right there almost finishing off, but if you don't take him out, every turn he's going to get death proofs, and if he gets 5, he's going to get revive once. So make sure you finish him off before that happens. Okay, let's see if I don't make the same mistake again. Deadpool is almost having his turn. I was a little bit concerned that the third wave would drop with multiple characters at the same time, but it's not the case. So don't worry about it. You can finish up the second wave without any of the characters of the third wave being around. Okay, so now we have the very problematic wave. This is the hardest wave that you have to deal with, and you make sure you have all your cooldowns available. And here it's going to be very important for you to have as many skirmishers as possible, because like that you're going to be able to rush on that Star-Lord, and as soon as you get rid of Star-Lord, the better it will be for you, because he keeps giving energy for Moondragon and for Mantis and Rocket, and that means tons and tons of damage, tons and tons of negative effects being applied to your team. Then your positive effects are also being cleared away by Negasonic, so this is a very dangerous situation. So you want to make sure that you get rid of Star-Lord, and then you get rid of Moondragon and Rocket. With Drax, it's the same way as Rhino and any other tank that we faced. You just want to make sure that he has some vulnerabilities and you can remove his taunt. In case you have a character with a striker, make sure you don't use that striker on the characters you are trying to remove the taunts. And sometimes you can do that, not always. This is why it's just better to have as many skirmishers as possible. But yeah, so Moonstone, she's almost gone. You can see that is very tough to get rid of her. She keeps giving herself defense up and deflects on top of the revives and so on. So it's quite annoying, but she's finally gone. And now we can deal with Rocket, Mantis, and Drax, plus Negasonic. Negasonic here, I was going for her. And once again, I mentioned this before, just ignore Negasonic. She's just so slow and so annoying that just apply slow to her and focus on the other characters instead that are way more dangerous. So you can see that piercing through that barrier with all of the other characters on the field is just it's just not the best option. So do as I say, not as I do, because clearly I was not doing it properly. And then I did a second run where I did this a lot faster, where I no longer made these mistakes. So that Rocket is almost gone, and you have to remember that they keep getting this minor offense up, so we have some additional damage, which makes a difference. And this is why, once again, having so many skirmishers is going to be extremely useful, because you keep removing their positive effects. Okay, so finally I woke up and I got rid of Rocket, and now I can focus on the other characters. So I'm not sure if this is a bug or what is this, but if the characters don't have revive once, and if they have a bunch of buffs, just like Drax had, they lose all their buffs. So I don't know exactly why this happens, but it's very convenient, and you'll see that it will happen a few times throughout this run, that whenever a character has like a bunch of buffs and then they get the revive once, they lose all their other buffs, which is great, which makes us save a lot of time. Okay, we're almost done here. Oh my god, sorry, I really apologize for this taking so long, but it's just the way it is. This is why it's just better to put on auto and just remove from auto when you are about to start this last wave, because it just takes so long, and yeah, it's just painful. All these additional barrier, like, you can always gear up more your characters, right? You can always gear up your characters more, but I want to show you the bare minimum that you have to invest in to get a maximum score on this Death Scourge for Archangel. Okay, so now we have two very slow characters. We have Drax and Negasonic, so it doesn't really matter which one you focus on first. Negasonic is more dangerous because of the heal block. Drax is annoying because of the taunt, but once again, if you have multiple skirmishers, you just remove the taunt and you are good to go. Okay, so come on, let's finish these. Let's go. Let's focus on the last nodes. Okay, so I changed the targets. I'm now dealing with Drax since he had already a bunch of negative effects. And now finally we have a lonely Negasonic. And even on her own, she's just so annoying. Like, she gets so much barrier. It's really annoying. But there you go. So that's it. Those were the minion nodes on the Death Scourge. Pretty easy if you use the AIM team with Merc LT. Okay, so now you're going to take a look at node number 3, and in this node number 3 you can use any kind of hero characters. My recommendation for you is to take Eternals plus Shang-Chi and Vision and Shuri. And the reason why you're going to take Vision and Shuri is just to make sure that we have both of their ultimates load up, because that's going to make a huge difference on the node number 5 and node number 10. So that's pretty much it. You only have to use their basic attacks, you don't have to use any abilities, because Shang-Chi and the Eternals are going to be able to deal with everything. In the past I have brought Kestrel instead of Shang-Chi, but I think he's way more helpful because of his ability to clear negative effects away. So any character that does that you can bring. So in case you want to bring like Mary Hill or maybe Squirrel Girl or something like that, you can bring them as well. It's going to be pretty much the same. All you want to do is to make sure that you stall the match enough so both Shuri and Vision have at least 2 turns each. So there you go, that's what we just had. And like this we'll have the ultimate of Vision ready for the last node, and we'll also have the ultimate of Shuri ready for the next node number 5 or node number 10, whichever you prefer. Okay, there you go, that was node number 3 and the preparations for the upcoming nodes. Okay, so now let's take a look at node number 5, and we are going to use Eternals. Then we can use Kestrel or whichever character. You can take Spider Weaver and Spider-Man 2099. In my opinion, this is the best setup because it's a lot faster and safer. And as the last character you want to take Gambit, just in case you need to charge up his ultimate. It doesn't really matter, but in my opinion this is going to be the best team. So Eternals, Spider Weaver, Spider-Man 2099 and Gambit. Once again, I have a lot of skirmishers for this specific node. It doesn't really matter how many skirmishers you have, and we just have Icarus as a striker, and that's gonna be good enough. Okay, so let's get started, and there are a few dangerous characters here, but thanks to Spider-Man 2099, the Eternals, and Spider Weaver and their charges that reduce the accuracy of the enemies, it's not really gonna matter because we are going to destroy everyone. And one situation we have is that we don't have the ultimate of Icarus ready, but that's fine, it doesn't really matter. So we are going to stun Madeline Pryor because we don't want her to mind control our characters, otherwise that's going to cause a lot of problems. Because we have the charges of Spider Weaver, we are pretty much protected from enemy attacks, and after you just want to use basic attacks until Omega Red drops. He is the most problematic character that we are facing in this node. With Nick Fury you are going to pretty much ignore him and just flip his positive effects into negative effects. So from speed up it takes slow down, and that's gonna take such a long time for him to have a turn that it really doesn't matter. Okay, so there we go, now we have Omega Red and we have also Deadpool, both the dangerous characters, but Omega Red is the priority. So you're gonna flip the positive effects on him, and then we are going to stun him with Cersei, or we are just going to finish him off with any of the characters we have available. After Omega Red is gone, you want to focus on Deadpool, and if you are lucky, your Spider Weaver will destroy Nick Fury at the same time, but if it's not the case, that's fine, just rush for Deadpool, finish it off as soon as you can. At this point in time, we should have the cooldowns available on our Eternals, so we're gonna start with our Rampage against the enemies. Mr. Sinister is gone, Nick Fury is gone, and now we have Zemo, but we also have Spider-Man 2099, so he's going to flip all those immunities into disrupts, and then Icarus is going to use his ultimate and pretty much destroy everyone. Just be careful with the enemy Gambit because he can create a lot of problems. He still does a lot of damage, and once again you want to make sure that your Gambit is alive, because the goal of bringing him here was to make sure that he had the cooldowns ready but also to make sure that he has full health, otherwise it's going to be compromised. Okay, so there you go. That's it. We have a Gambit left, and we also have Shield Medic. Make sure that you don't allow Shield Medic to revive anyone, and then you are good to go. Okay, so now let's take a look at node number 5, and for this node number 5 you're going to change the ISO weight a little bit. So on the Black Panther you want to use Striker, on Okoye you want to use Skirmisher, then on M'Baku you want to use Healer, the same goes for Shuri, you also want to use her as a healer, and then, and this might be very surprising, but this makes these fights extremely easy, you want to use Bashenga, the Black Panther 1 million BC, you want to make him a skirmisher as well. This is going to be extremely important for you to be able to one-shot these nodes fairly easy, and also making sure that your characters have as much health as possible. It's extremely important, otherwise you are not going to be able to get these high scores. So you can see that thanks to the double skirmisher of Bashenga and Okoye, we got all the enemies without positive effects, and that's great because then both M'Baku and Black Panther can just destroy the enemies. And with the healer ISO weight from M'Baku and Shuri, we have enough regenerations going around that is going to keep your entire team alive. And well, for the last node, where you are also going to use this team. Now we are going to, we have to rush in terms of the targets. We have to rush for Mighty Thor, aka Lady Thor, aka Jane Foster, because she's going to flip the positive effects into negative effects, and you don't want that to happen. Then you want to, of course, remove Strife because he keep taunting every time you attack the villain mutants like Emma Frost. So destroy Mighty Thor, destroy Strife. Then you want to destroy Emma Frost, and then after that you just destroy whoever is available. Of course, that Squirrel Girl is going to be a priority. Then we have Heimdall and Lady Thor, or Valkyrie in this case. And you can destroy all of them before the second wave drops. And as soon as the second wave drops, you want to make sure that you rush for Thanos. And if you use the ultimate before on the first wave, you might have enough turns to attack Thanos twice, and that's going to be extremely helpful for you. After Thanos is gone, you want to focus on Ebony Maw. Make sure he doesn't apply slow to you with his ultimate, otherwise that's really going to destroy the health of your characters, and you don't want him to do that. If he does the special, that's fine, but you really don't want him to do his ultimate. And after Thanos are gone, after Ebony Maw is gone, this is pretty much a free win, because the amount of damage that the minions do to you and Call Obsidian, it doesn't really matter, because you can give yourself defense up with Shuri and also with M'Baku. Every time you need defense up, you should prioritize using the special of M'Baku, because it has a lower cooldown, and M'Baku is not as important character as Shuri is, so you can avoid using the abilities from Shuri. You can see right here that she has the ultimate ready, she has the special ready, and now I was considering, should I level up my characters or should I just get rid of Call Obsidian and move on with this. So now Call Obsidian taunts, I'm going to use the special of M'Baku, I think, to give energy to the team, since we are almost done with this node and it's not really going to matter, and the energy is going to be important for the last node. You want to make sure that Bashenga, Okoye and Black Panther have all of their abilities ready to go. Okay, so you can see the benefits of having multiple skirmishers. You just flip away those positive effects on the enemies like they are nothing, and at this point in time you just want to play this as slow as possible, so you can remove the negative effects from yourself and use the ISO weight to heal up your characters a little bit. So I think I'm going to use the ultimate here just to top off my characters a little bit more, because you want to make sure that at least they are above 50% health, which means on the green, going for the last node. The last node can be problematic, but in the way that we are going to do it, it's going to be extremely easy. But either way, you want to make sure that your characters are a little bit above the 50% health, because otherwise you're going to get trauma on your characters, and trauma is just something you want to avoid as much as possible, especially trauma with heal block, because that really cripples you and what you can do with your character. So I'm switching from one character to another, because if you fail to kill one of them, you can use that to allow the enemies to get more death proofs, and that will allow you to get your cooldowns faster. Okay, so there we go, some isolate changes that made huge difference in our results on node number 5. Okay, let's take a look at node number 6, and this is the non-legendary mutants. And these nodes can be quite problematic. Some people like to use X-Men teams here, some people like to use X-Factor. I like to use villain mutants. I think the villain mutants make this extremely easy, and especially because most of the characters that we are going to use are skirmishers. Once again, skirmishers are going to allow you to win these nodes fairly easy. So we have Silver Samurai as a skirmisher, we have Sabertooth as a skirmisher, we have Mystique as a skirmisher, we have Emma Frost as a skirmisher, and finally we have Mr. Sinister as a fortifier. And we have him as a fortifier because that allows him to give the minor defense up to all the allies. Okay, so we are going to use our Silver Samurai to tank like a boss. He has barrier, he has defense up, he has deflects, he has death proofs, he has a bunch of things. But something very useful that he has is the stun, that if you kill a character with that stun, those characters are not going to be able to revive. So that's going to be huge in stopping some of these enemies. And this node is a little bit, you just have to be patient. It takes a while to get going, and you have to use the several tricks that we have going on with your team in order to capitalize. So in my opinion, you should focus on Star-Lord T'Challa as fast as possible. Then you want to focus on Spider-Man, because these characters do insane burst damage, and as soon as you remove the burst damage from the enemy team, you can pretty much keep them under control, and that's not they no longer will be a problem. Let's say that. Star-Lord T'Challa has the big burst damage. He removes energy from your characters, which is extremely annoying. And then we have the Spider-Man with the defense down, with the slow, and also with the stun. Once again, we have these multiple skirmishers, and because of that, we are able to remove all those towns from the summons from Kingpin. Also remove the taunt from Luke Cage, and also remove the taunt from Mark Riot Guard. I think it's Mark Riot Guard there in the corner. Okay, so we double tap that Star-Lord T'Challa is gone for the second time, and now we're gonna focus on Spider-Man, because once again we don't want any slows on our team, we don't want any stuns, and we definitely don't want any energy removal from the other character. Okay, so Spider-Man lost his first life, and the good thing about having Silver Samurai is that whenever Spider-Man attacks, he's always going to chain through Silver Samurai, which has very, very high armor, so the damage that you do to him is minimal. If you put Emma Frost next to Silver Samurai, that's going to be two characters that cannot get any negative effects on their faces. And that's great, because that's going to protect your team for a lot. In terms of position, you want to have Mystique as far away from the tank as possible. This is why she is so far away from Silver Samurai. Okay, so beyond that, after you are done with Star-Lord T'Challa, after you are done with Spider-Man, you just have to play it very, very carefully. You want to get your cooldowns ready, the cooldown especially of Emma Frost, so you can use the ultimate of Emma Frost to remove all the positive effects from the enemies, and then you can finally get rid of Shield Medic and Shield Operative, because they are the ones causing a lot of problems to us with the revives, and not only with the revives but also with the stealth. The stealth is just so annoying, so frustrating, but yeah, just be patient, and thanks to all your skirmishes, you're gonna be just fine. Okay, so we have the cooldowns almost ready to go. We are removing those towns from Luke Cage. Something you can always do is attack the characters like Luke Cage and the other tank, but keep them low enough so the shield operative and the shield medic, they always try to heal up those characters. Okay, so finally we got rid of those positive effects, the stealths from the shield operative and shield medic, and now I use the ultimate from Silver Samurai to get rid of shield operative, and she can not be revived because she was killed with the ultimate of Silver Samurai. When this next wave drops, you want to rush for Taskmaster and you want to rush for Colin Wing because they are the big burst damage of the enemy team. And after that, there are not like any kind of dangerous character that you have to pay attention to. After you get rid of Taskmaster, after you get rid of Colin Wing, you can pretty much focus on the characters that revive characters or that gives buffs, speed up, and so on, and like this you'll save your time. Okay, so now we have another revive, or we have another clone, sorry. We have another clone. We're gonna save that clone for Black Widow or Merc LT, because now we want to get the character that gives the speed up, so you can finally take an advantage, or at least to balance out the speed of the match, so we can more easily get rid of the enemy. So we're gonna keep focusing on that shield medic. We don't want her to revive anyone now. She already revived Tashala at the beginning of the match, so we're gonna focus on her now. We're gonna keep removing all those towns. So now we have also Hulk doing towns. So as always, the more skirmishers you have, the better, because you're gonna be more easily able to remove those positive effects. Okay, so finally I'm gonna be able to clone the Merc LT, and now this is gonna be huge, because right now I'm gonna have offense up and speed up all the time, and this is going to completely change the way we were fighting the enemy. So you can see right away that we are already completely destroying the shield medic, and now you're gonna focus on Luke Cage and also on Hulk. We want to make sure that we have a defense up whenever you are going to attack Hulk, because Hulk does a lot of damage. Hulk does really a lot of damage, and he can one-shot some of your characters, and we don't want that because we might still use this team on the next node, so it's always good to have these characters available. So we're gonna flip that taunt. Once again, the more skirmishes we have, the better. We're gonna get rid of Luke Cage now, I think. Okay, so there you go. Every time you do a non-attacking ability, Sabretooth is going to attack the enemies, which is very convenient. Black Widow dying with the bleeds, she lost her first life. And keep in mind that they can get another life. If you keep them getting death proofs, they can get multiple revives throughout the match. But yeah, Black Widow is now gone. And now you're going to focus on the characters that give speed up to the enemies, which is Merc LT. And after that, we don't have much to worry about. We have three very slow characters. We have Kingpin, Merc Riot Guard, and Hulk, so we can pretty much beat them slowly. At this point in time, I was already saving the cooldowns for the next node, just in case I need to use this team once again against the node number 7. Okay, that mini guy over there, we are just destroying him. I taunted with Silver Samurai because it doesn't really matter at this point in time. We still have a few more enemies to attack, and Silver Samurai has low cooldowns. Mr. Sinister, he gets energy on spawn, so even if you have to use this team, it doesn't really matter. You only need your cooldowns on specifically Emma Frost. On Emma Frost you need to have the special and the ultimate available. That's going to be extremely important on the next node. Okay, so as you can see, Hulk is doing tons and tons of damage, but because we are taunting with the Silver Samurai, it's not a problem. And also because we have Emma Frost behind Silver Samurai, so we have the most tanking characters together taking that damage from Hulk in the face. Merc Riot Guard is finally gone, and we're gonna summon the minions from Kingpin. At this point in time, we are just consuming as many cooldowns as possible, or we're gonna try to save as many cooldowns as possible, so we are ready to go on the next node. Mystique has all cooldowns. Mr. Sinister, he has enough. Don't forget that he's going to get 3 energy on spawn. Sabretooth also has his ultimate ready, so now you just have to finish off this Kingpin and move on to the next node. There you go, Merc LT with a finishing blow, beating his boss and giving us the victory on this node number 6. Okay, so let's take a look at node number 7 now, and we are going to use a slightly different team. We are going to use Dead Seed, and we are going to drop in Gambit and also Emma Frost. Emma Frost is going to help the Dead Seed because they are kind of a slow team. And Gambit is going to do Gambit things. He's going to throw cards in the face of the enemies and kill them, which is always great. Okay, so like we mentioned before, we have the ultimate ready of Gambit in case it becomes necessary. In this specific situation, having more skirmishers, it doesn't really matter. We just need the normal amount of skirmishers. So we have Emma Frost and the Dark Beast as a skirmisher. We have Nemesis and Psylocke as a striker, and we have Gambit as a raider. Gambit is going to do most of the work. He's just going to keep destroying the enemies. He's going to start focusing on Star-Lord, and with Emma Frost you want to make sure that her ultimate is available, so you can try to remove the positive effects from Captain Sam. But even if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal because the team should be powerful enough to just destroy Captain Sam. Okay, so now you're going to drain the enemies with Nemesis. We are going to do a bunch of damage to Captain Sam with the Nemesis ultimate. Keep in mind that every time you use the ultimates, you are going to get blind. And this is why it's important to have characters like Emma Frost and Psylocke to remove those negative effects from you. In the case of Psylocke, she's going to remove the negative effects from the other characters, but she's going to get blind herself. That's fine, she's a very slow character, it doesn't really matter. She's just here to throw the negative effects away anyway, and also to apply evades and counters to her allies. Okay, so we destroyed Star-Lord, we destroyed Captain Sam, we destroyed Nakia, we destroyed Okoye. Now we have the second wave of characters with Shuri. Just focus on Shuri, get rid of Shuri. She doesn't have a lot of HP, you're going to destroy her fairly easy. All the vulnerabilities that we are applying to them with Gambit and with the Dark Beast will just destroy any kind of positive effects that Shuri has. Speed up, defense up, deflects, they will all go away fairly quickly. At this point in time, when you have these 4 minions available, you should try to get them down enough to remove their positive effects, but you don't want to kill them right away. You want to make sure that they are low enough so you can destroy the shield troopers and the shield operative at the same time, so they will not stick around for the third wave of enemies. So that's going to be the goal, to remove the revives from the characters and to make sure that they are low enough so you can defeat them with just 1 hit. So Shield Assault, she lost her first health, or the first life. Now you're going to do a little bit of damage to her. It's not enough to spawn the next wave, so now I'm going to attack the other guy to make sure that he's out of his revive. So let's do just that with Emma Frost. Last death proof. Here we go. Next attack, they are going to fall off. And even that the team is dying, that's fine. This team has done all the work that they need to do. So now I'm going to attack those 2 guys on the right side, and hopefully we'll get rid of them. And then we have the other guy on the left side as well. Let's get rid of his last health bar, and then we are good to go. We just want the Sharon Carter and Mary Hill to drop and not get stuck behind the town. So we're going to try to remove the town from that guy, and we're going to get rid of that shield trooper at the same time. And now the goal was going to be to get rid of the other shield trooper, but since we got stuck behind this guy with the taunt, the shield security, we are just better off in finishing him off and ignore the other characters. So there we go, we have 4 characters left. We have 2 shield troopers and 1 melee heal, and now we are just going to wait for the enemies to destroy our team so we can clean up after with the characters we used in the previous node. Okay, so Gambit, he did his job, he did his ultimate nemesis, incinerated all those minions, and now we are ready for the second tap to finish off this node with a very high efficiency. Bye bye Gambit, well done. Okay, so now we are going to clean up with Weapon X plus Marauders, and we're going to use Silver Samurai, we're going to use Sabertooth, we are going to use Wolverine, we are going to use Mr. Sinister, and we are going to use Mystique. This is going to increase the damage of Sabertooth. This is going to increase the chance of assist from Silver Samurai. This is also going to increase the chance of assist from Sabertooth. So it's a win-win-win-win-win. It's multiple characters combined that have tons and tons of synergies with each other, which is great. So you want to focus on Mary Hill with the Mystique Special, so you can flip all those immunities into bleeds, and then you just want to go ham on Mary Hill. Make sure you get rid of her, because as soon as Mary Hill is gone, you pretty much won the match. So you can see that Mary Hill just bleed out, the other minion also bleed out. If you have the taunt available from Silver Samurai, that's going to be great. That will allow you to save some time, because you'll not have Sabertooth stunned like we see right here. And then with Mr. Sinister, you want to spread those positive effects around, making sure that all your damaging mutants have offense up so they can destroy the enemies faster. You can see the multiple skirmishers, removing those immunities, removing the multiple death proofs, and that's why this team is so powerful, and that's why this ISO 8 setup is so powerful. So we're going to finish off that minion with the assist from Mr. Sinister and the Marauders, and now Sabertooth with a big damage. Also the Skirmisher is a way to remove those pesky positive effects. Mystique removes his first life. We're gonna taunt with the Silver Samurai, and now Wolverine with a killing blow finishes off the last mutant, or the last minion on these non-legendary mutant nodes. So there we go, that was node 7, pretty easy, and these characters are somewhat useful in the game, so it's up to you if you want to use this team or not, but in my opinion, it's a great team to use here for some great efficiency and points. Okay, so now let's take a look at the first legendary node, and we are going to use the Horseman characters plus Jubilee. It's important that you have multiple skirmishers, so you can take advantage of the Striker Isolate on Archangel and on Morgan Le Fay. Isolate on Striker or on Archangel is extremely important, because you need him to get energy as often as possible. That's why you need him as a striker, so you can finish off the enemies. Okay, ultimate of Morgan Le Fay on Colossus. Yes, we are gonna get blind, but that's fine. Then you want to use the special of Rogue on the Zombie Iron Man. Yes, on Zombie Iron Man. With Archangel, we're going to use his ultimate on Hela, and because you are using the ultimate, you are going to copy the immunity, and like this, Archangel is not going to get blinded. After that, you want to make sure that you rush on destroying the Zombie Iron Man, because every time you have bleeds on your team and Zombie Iron Man is on the field, your characters are going to attack each other. So as soon as you can, just get rid of that Zombie Iron Man, because he's only going to cause you problems. With Jubilee, you stun at Gambit, and with Rogue, you're gonna save that stun for now, because the enemies you are facing, they don't really matter. So at this point, you want to get rid of Gambit, Dr. Voodoo, and also Morbius. Those are the only characters that are causing you problems. If you can finish off someone, that will be great, because you're going to be able to turn rewind the enemies with Archangel. And now with Jubilee, you can spread some of those negative effects. Not a lot, because the enemies have immunity, but it's still convenient to use the abilities from Jubilee. Okay, so now I'm going to use the special of Morgan Le Fay to give speed up and immunity to all Horseman characters. This allows us to apply more vulnerabilities to the enemies and will allow us to allow Archangel to go ham on the enemies, which is great. Dazzler is a problematic character because she flips negative effects into positive effects, so I'm going to stun her, and after I'm done stunning with her, I'm going to finish off the Squirrel Girl and Miss Marvel, just so they are not in my way. So Dazzler go away with Eyes Await. Remember that every time we finish off someone, Archangel turn rewinds them by 10%. Now we finish off Squirrel Girl, and then we have another zombie Iron Man. So the same thing we did before, you want to rush the zombie Iron Man as fast as possible, especially if you have the ultimate of Archangel available, that's going to be great. Then double tap Morgan Le Fay and zombie Iron Man is gone. At this point you have magic still on the field, so get rid of magic. You can use the stun of Jubilee because you are not going to use Jubilee on the next node. And applying stun to magic will also prevent her from going on stealth, I guess. I don't know, maybe she had disrupt or something, but I found it convenient. Then we are just going to destroy Phoenix, and we're gonna play this slowly just to make sure that we have all the cooldowns available for the next node, where we are going to use most of these characters as well, except Jubilee. Jubilee did her job, applying multiple stuns, and yeah, she was fairly convenient. You can also use Magneto here instead of Jubilee. Magneto is also nice, but Jubilee overall becomes more convenient because every time you defeat an enemy, the enemies are getting turn rewind because of Archangel, and Jubilee is getting turn meter, which is just great. So now we just have this Greg, we're gonna finish him off, and we are good to go for the next node, node number 9. Okay, so node number 9, there is the easy way to do it, there is the hard way to do it. The hard way is gonna be taking like Omega Red or something like that on your team. The easy way is going to be to use Star-Lord, yes, Star-Lord. And using Star-Lord to apply blind to the enemies, also calling the allies to assist and blinding the enemies. Star-Lord is very, very convenient here. And because unfortunately we have to use him in different game modes like the Nowhere Heist and other trashy events like that, it's just a convenient way of taking advantage of this character in case you have him geared up. Okay, so as before, we are going to use the ultimate of Morgan Le Fay to apply disrupts, bleeds, and other negative effects on the enemies. With the rogue special, you're going to turn rewind that Deadpool, and now you can use the ultimate of Star-Lord to destroy the enemies. If you are lucky, you're going to call for assist like Red Hulk or Morgan Le Fay, and that's going to destroy one of the enemies. And even if Star-Lord is blind, it's not going to matter because the special ability is unavoidable, so that's great. You should use his ultimate, then special, and then pray that that he's still alive. But you only need him alive for a few turns, so it's not very important. Okay, so as you can see, we got rid of Wong. Now you're going to use the ultimate of Omega Red, maybe. Okay, we're going to use the basic. Get rid of Deathpool. Now you're going to try to rush on that Strange Supreme, and now finally, now is the moment where we are going to use the Red Hulk ultimate. You could use Red Hulk ultimate turn 1 and then get the energy from Star-Lord, but this is just a little bit safer. Okay, so I used the stun on Strange Supreme, 100% unnecessary, and I'm going to use the special of Morgan Le Fay to give speed up to Red Hulk, because I want to use his ultimate against Nakia and also against Spider-Man 2099. So I misplayed a little bit here. You can do this a lot better if you let all the enemies to have positive effects, so you can destroy all of them at the same time. Either way, it doesn't really matter. With Morgan Le Fay basic, you want to make sure that you attack the characters with vulnerabilities, so you can get rid of them, and also copy positive effects. So if you can do both at the same time, that would be great. So I'm going to target maybe Nakia, maybe Spider-Man 2099. Those are the priority targets. because they are the ones that apply disrupt to us, slow down, and so on, and you don't want any of that. Okay, so Bashenga is doing Bashenga things. He did his ultimate, but against Red Hulk it doesn't do much, especially if he doesn't have any buffs. Now we're going to use the special of Star-Lord to give energy to Red Hulk, and this is going to set up the Red Hulk ultimate for the last wave, which is going to be extremely important because you're going to be facing Agatha Harkness, we're going to be facing Dr. Octopus, we also have Spider Weaver and Abomination. So we have a bunch of characters that are quite problematic, and we also have Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is always scary. Don't forget about that. Okay, so Morgan Le Fay ultimate, apply disrupt to as many characters as possible. Now you can see that Red Hulk, he still needs 1 or 2 more turns to get his ultimate ready. And you can get his ultimate through charges or through energy. This is why we have Star-Lord here. It's because he can give energy, and like this you can do 3 ultimates with Red Hulk in just this one node. Okay, so now I was trying to finish off Adam Warlock, just to make sure that he doesn't apply any stun to us. And because we have all these enemies at low health, I want to defeat as many as possible so Archangel can turn rewind them and give me more time to attack Spider Weaver, which, as you can see, she's about to have her turn and do Spider Weaver things which are quite annoying. Okay, so now that Spider Weaver is charged, we have to wait for those charges to be removed. Star-Lord, he still gave enough energy for Red Hulk, or maybe Red Hulk got his charges or something. But yeah, we are ready to go. Just make sure that Spider Weaver does not have any charges, otherwise you're gonna fail the Red Hulk ultimate. So now Spider Weaver doesn't have any charges. We can use the ultimate of Archangel in whoever you want. I think, yeah, I used it on Spider Weaver, but I should have used it on Shang-Chi just to finish him off and leave Spider Weaver for last, but it doesn't really matter. We have 4 Horseman characters against 3 enemies. It's not going to be a big deal. Spider Weaver is going to get a special going, but it's pretty much game over with Red Hulk ultimate. Shang-Chi right away gets destroyed from the negative effects, and now we can apply the second special of Rogue, applying tons and tons of negative effects to Spider Weaver. We finish off Phyla-Vell, and now it's time to finish off as well Spider Weaver and these final legendary nodes. We are going to the for dramatic pose with Morgan Le Fay. There we go. She's still alive with those death proofs, so Rogue is going to finish her off with her ultimate, and there we go. So that was node number 9. On node number 8 we used Jubilee, and on node number 9 we used Star-Lord for additional energy and blinds on the enemies. Now let's take a look at the final node, node number 10, and see exactly how we're going to be able to deal with this challenge. Okay, let's take a look at node number 10, and this node number 10 is going to be very surprising. Look at that ISO 8 choice. So we have Skirmisher ISO 8 on all characters. Yes, all characters. And this is to allow us to do a trick. So with the Bionic Avengers, we have Vision and V-Vision calling each other for assist, and then we have Iron Man and Hulkbuster calling each other for assist. So the goal is going to be to apply vulnerability to Gambit, and then the assist calling someone that also applies vulnerability, and this will allow us to remove the death proofs and the stealth from Gambit. This is the easiest way for you to beat these nodes. It's extremely easy, like the RNG is like 90% less if you use this strategy. I know it's annoying, not everyone has a bunch of ISO 8 blue sitting around, but if you do, it's just so much easier to do like this. So you can see Iron Man now is going to remove all those death proofs, and the Hulkbuster assisting on Iron Man. So pretty much all the death proofs from Gambit are gone, and even that is in stealth, that's fine, because with that little amount of death proofs we are just going to remove them and win. It's pretty much that easy. Okay, so the characters that we have to destroy in this node with Bionic Avengers are Echo, and Gambit. Those are the only two characters that matter. Those are the only two characters that you want to destroy as fast as possible, and this is why the vulnerabilities are so important. You also want to make sure that you only use the ultimate of Vision that we set up on node number 3, and you want to use the ultimate of V-Vision. Beyond that, you don't have to use any of the other ultimates, otherwise you are going to get blinded, and that means you are going to fail the attack. You can also save the Vision ultimate for the second turn, and this is to make sure that Gambit does not have any death proofs or the stealth. We are going to make as least likely as possible for Gambit to have any of those buffs, and then Gambit just falls on his face, which is exactly what you want. So now Red Guardian is taunting. It doesn't really matter because we have so many skirmishes. We are going to remove that taunt, and now you're going to focus 100% on making sure that all the enemies are at a very low health, and of course getting rid of Echo. If you don't get rid of Echo, you are not going to be able to come after with the Wakanda team, because Echo is going to stop the assists from Okoye, and it's very hard to deal with that situation. So get rid of Gambit, get rid of Echo, and after that you can pretty much just lose the match on purpose. But once again, the main goal is to have as many characters as possible at low health, so after your Black Panther can come in and completely wreck the enemies. So this is why I use the ultimate of Iron Man here to lower the health of Miss Marvel. She's taunting, and all the other characters, like, we're gonna lower them as much as possible so Black Panther after can really capitalize on those characters. If you can, you could also get rid of Ghost Spider and Spider Punk. Those are the most problematic characters because they have the evades and the dodges. The other characters, just leave them around, because it's going to be convenient for you to get the cooldowns on your Black Panther and also to get some additional kills. So that's pretty much it. That's all the Bionic Avengers have to do. If you use the Skirmisher Isolate, I'm honestly telling you that you reduce the amount of RNG by like 90%, and it makes this extremely easy. Okay, so that was the Bionic Avengers. Gambit is gone, Echo is gone, and now we are ready to bring our Wakanda and destroy this final node on the Death Scourge. Okay, so here we go. We are going for the last attack with Wakanda, and we have two strikers. We have Black Panther and M'Baku, and we have three skirmishers. Black Panther 1 million, aka Bashenga, we have Okoye, and we also have Shuri. Once again, this is to allow us to remove as many positive effects as possible from the enemies, and believe me, it makes a huge difference. So we are going to use the ultimate of Bashenga on Red Guardian, and you want to make sure that Red Guardian is almost dead but not death. Then you want to apply some vulnerability to Miss Marvel, and now you're going to use the ultimate of Black Panther on Red Guardian and also on Miss Marvel. This will allow you to have one additional turn, and that additional turn is going to make a huge difference. Yes, we didn't use the offense up, that was on purpose, so you can use the offense up on the second attack. So after you triggered offense up on American Chavez or Elsa, and this is why we keep these characters around, because they cannot dodge, then you want to focus the two additional attacks you have on Rogue. You want to make sure that you destroy Rogue, and after Rogue is gone, it doesn't really matter. So I could have used the basic here. It doesn't really matter. You can use the basic or the special. I just wanted to play safe and make this look as pretty as possible. And now with the basic of M'Baku, because he's a striker, he's going to destroy that rogue, and it's pretty much game over for the enemy team. Okay, so now we have Sunfire doing his ultimate. That's not a big deal. All the skirmishers that we have are going to remove the positive effects from him and making him ready for the slaughter. Then we have now the Spider Punk and Ghost Spider. You want to make sure that you get rid of both of them before the next wave drops, because that will allow you to save a lot of unnecessary damage. That will allow you to have your characters as fully healed as possible. So you can see that all my characters are pretty much at 50% and above, and that's going to be great going on for the next wave of enemies. So so Black Panther now is ready to go once again, and once again we are going to attack first the characters that cannot evade. Otherwise you're going to be into problems. Now you're going to use the ultimate. Maybe, let me think, maybe not. We could use the ultimate if we had immunity, but because we don't have immunity, you want to play safe. So that was a little bit risky. You are attacking a character that has a dodge or evades, but sometimes you just have to go for it. You have the attack from Black Panther, and then you have attack from Okoye, so you had a higher chance of success. Then we got rid of Sunfire, and now we are ready to go for the last wave. We only have 4 enemies left, so as you can see, this is extremely easy if you change the isolate around, if you get rid of Gambit and Echo on the first fight, if you lower the health of the enemies enough just for Black Panther to capitalize on that. And now we have Kate Bishop getting those evades, but she doesn't keep those evades. This is the problem with these are the benefits of the skirmisher isolate, is even after she gets those evades, because the isolate triggers after the passive, she gets the evades, but then the isolate triggers and clears all those evades away. So now we have a Squirrel Girl doing the healing. It doesn't really matter. We have two or three enemies left, and so it's not a big deal. And now you're going to destroy Squirrel Girl. You're just going to play safe. You're going to let Ghost Spider attacking us a little bit more, but that's fine, because she's going to lose all her positive effects. Look at that. She lost the death proof, she lost the offense up, and this is why the damage from the enemies is not a problem. Now we can finish off Squirrel Girl with Okoye and Bashenga. You can see, like, stripping away all the positive effects made this fight so much easier. And that's it. So now with Shuri we can use the basic, get rid of Ghost Spider, and finally we have a Spider Punk. So yeah guys, that's how you do the Dead Seed team. 3 million points, 3,340 points, with most of the Scourges active. You probably could activate all of them, but this is like the easiest way you can do. There are a few isolate changes that might be unconventional, something like that. They might not be the most common thing, but if you do those isolate changes, they are going to make your Scourge experience so much easier. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this journey throughout the Dead Scourge. Once again, 3.3 million points. And if this is your first time doing the Dead Scourge, this is a score that will allow you to get a 7 yellow stars Archangel. At least this was the score I got on my first run, and it was guaranteed top 500. And I hope you guys can replicate these strategies and get a 7-star Archangel for yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.